Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to talk about today here on the show. Cinemablend once again proves itself to be wildly unethical. Fan Fest 21, a new IGN particular convention online. I don't know. It looks pretty cool. We're going to talk about that. Snyder Cut's going to be having a pretty big spot there, as well as a bunch of other news. So let's just jump right the hell into it. How's everyone doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to Hollywood After Dark. Today, of course, is the 3rd of February 2021. The groundhog apparently saw its shadow yesterday. 6 more weeks of winter. I sense 6 more weeks of a lot more AFSP charity streams on that one. I'm just going to be honest with you. I hate the winter. It drives me up the wall. I can't stand it. It needs to be over. I need sunlight. I need sunlight. I need something. If not, I go insane. And then it's just bad. But anyway, welcome back to the show. Today's going to be a fun one. Lots to talk about. A lot of interesting things to talk about, actually. Couple quick things to address going forward. So I'm going to be doing the show daily. That's going to be a thing. And that's probably not going to be broken up as much into smaller bits unless I feel there's something worth explaining on that one. Maybe I'll do the Cinemablend story today. I don't quite know yet. But if I do anything that's more of an op-ed, you will see a thumbnail that looks like this, where I, let's say, break down Doomcock's big lie about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, because, quite frankly, that's something that needs to happen. More people need to call that out. My God, go read the comment section on that video, and you will see people exuberating. I mean, the massive cult-like situation going on there. It's nuts to read the comment section on that. It's like, oh my God, you're all QAnon supporters. No wonder. Like, just no wonder you believe what you believe. But that being said, a good thing to talk about, something I want to pimp a little bit today, and that is my new channel, PODIO Commentary. If you don't know what PODIO Commentary is, it's a series where I do a deep dive into a film's production history. Generally, it comes across as more of a storytelling scenario. It's a podcast, so it is audio only, no visuals. I know people out there may not like that, but quite frankly, I don't have all the time in the world to sit down and edit this stuff the way that I'd like to. But if you are interested in hearing a sample, there's a couple of them here on the channel. The most recent one here is the one I did about why the Halo movie was canceled. It's here on the channel. I will link to it in the video description. I'll have a link to it there. Check it out, as well as a link to the PODIO Commentary channel itself, and you guys can go and give that a subscribe. That's going to be a once-a-week series. Who knows? If it gets big enough, it gets crazy enough, I might do more than just one per week, because there are, quite frankly, hundreds, if not thousands of movies to talk about and a whole bunch of history to dive into. And quite frankly, that's one of the things that I'm here for. I love talking movies. I love talking history. I love diving into this stuff. So let's talk about the news today, because I did want to start by talking about this particular fan fest. So this tweet popped up today for Zack Snyder's Justice League, the official @SnyderCut account. It says, get your questions ready, because we're taking over IGN Fan Fest. And this is what the IGN Fan Fest website here is saying. So IGN Fan Fest 2021 new virtual event lineup. Is it really new? Is it new to, look, virtual events have been a thing for the past year. I just kind of find it funny. It's like, they're like, it's new, it's unique. It's not new or unique. But let's see what it is though. Okay. So IGN is excited to bring you a whole new way to celebrate your favorite games, movies, and TV series. IGN Fan Fest on February 26th and 27th. The free 2-day digital event will feature exciting first looks, exclusive gameplay, cast reunions, new details, and interviews from around the world, spotlighting some of the biggest and most anticipated entertainment and games of the year. And look, I'm all down for that. I love to get excited over stuff. I feel there's so much negativity, and I know sometimes I'm not the best at not showcasing a bit of that here and there. I'm kind of a dick, I'll fully admit. However, it says here that it will be streamed across IGN's website. You can find it probably anywhere else, but here's what we know. Here's what we're gonna get out of this one. This one's great. We got the Batman Beyond, a cast reunion and table read, which I'm hoping leads into a revival HBO Max. You know this is what people want. They don't want no Batgirl Beyond. They want Batman. They want Terry McGinnis, not Tory McGinnis or Terry with an I. They want Terry with a Y. Will Friedle. That's what they want. It's now on HBO Max, I believe. All 3 seasons are on there. Hell yeah. They're going to have Bethesda's Deathloop, which looks like an well, I don't want to come out and say awesome because it looks interesting. It's an intriguing premise. Amazon Prime Video's Invincible. 3 episodes drop at the end of March. Actually, same day as Godzilla v. Kong. Same day as my birthday. Just to let you guys know how that is. And then, of course, you've got Netflix's Jupiter's Legacy. Nothing to do with Jupiter Ascending, I believe. Netflix's Shadow and Bone. Another YA novel adaptation. Zack Snyder's Justice League. And more surprises. And of course, you can submit your own questions using a wide variety of things on that one. It looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It looks interesting enough to see what's going to be happening here. I know they want to make Zack Snyder's Justice League a big part of this. A lot of people are going to flock over to IGN to check it out. I think a lot of Snyder Cut fans are going to talk about it, even if they have to give IGN a click. Sometimes you got to do something dirty in order to do something good, I guess. I don't know. No, I don't really believe that. But let's keep going here. So the Golden Globes were nominated. The nominees came out today. A lot of people talking about the film side of it. I didn't really see any of those movies this year. I'm not going to lie. I wish I did. I wish I saw more movies in 2020. I just didn't. I saw what was kind of popular, and even then I missed out on quite a bit of stuff. But TV I was there for, at least mostly. But we do know here that The Mandalorian was nominated, and Jon Favreau has, of course, reacted. He says here, "We are incredibly fortunate to work with such a singular team of collaborators and artists that bring this show to life. On behalf of Kathy, Dave, and the entire Mandalorian team, thank you for this honor." And of course, we got a picture here with the whole team, including my favorite character, Mayfeld. Then again, just a huge Bill Burr fan in general. And look, the thing is, you got to love it here. He says, "On behalf of Kathy and Dave," right? And a lot of people out there are trying to argue that Favreau is talking about leading into the, that The Mandalorian is going to lead into the sequel trilogy. And apparently that's part of the big plan. Again, going back to that whole notion about Doomcock and lying to people. This is one of those things that kind of ties into it. He's been out there very much right now trying to argue that there is, that this is all just going to lead into Favreau doing his whole new trilogy, which is still going to somehow subterfuge and remove the sequel trilogy. It makes no sense. It just makes no sense. But like I said, QAnon, people believe it. People believe anything they're told enough times. What did Goebbels say about lying? Really, it's what it boils down to, if you want my honest opinion. Now, I'm not calling them Nazis. I'm just saying that they lie like them. They're not going to gas fans of the sequel trilogy, but they are going to continuously spread misinformation and disinformation and false information and lies as a way to start to look. It's real. This is just how they operate. And I'll tell you the craziest thing. When I mentioned earlier going to that video and reading the comment section, one of the weirder aspects of that, I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I just want to get it off my chest. One of the weirder tangents of that actually was, surprisingly, how many people were saying that Doomcock gives them hope. Really. That what he says, they know it's a lie. Like, they know it's a lie. They know it's not real. They know it's fake. They know it's completely made up. But because they like it, it gives them hope. Hope of what? There's no way Disney's going to retcon the sequel trilogy. They're not going to get rid of something that made them billions of dollars. There are words there I just do not get. I cannot say. I don't think. But there are the elements of it that are, my God, what the hell is going on? And that, of course, is a big part of the problem. It's nuts. And again, I really recommend, like, if you see someone spouting fake Star Wars information or fake information in general, and you know it's fake, call them out. We have to move past this whole, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. I just don't want to do it. I just can't do it, you guys. I just don't want, no, fuck that. Say something. These people need to be held accountable for the lies that they spread, the misinformation, the disinformation, the untruths that they push for profit. We're past, if anything, the January 6th insurrection outright proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this is what has to happen now. We'll have to wait and see if anyone actually, listens, which I doubt, but still. Here's an interesting one. And I think this is not really movie related, not yet at least, but I think it will be. Discussing Film here posts that Fantastic Four's life story will tell the entire history of the Fantastic Four against key events of the decades through which their stories were published. The first issue will be set during the 60s. I think that's a pretty big giveaway for where not Josh Boone. Who's the guy who did Spider-Man Homecoming? Oh my, I can't even remember his name right now. That's so bad. But his movie, him doing the Fantastic Four movie, which I still think Brad Bird should do, if I'm being honest with you. But, you know, he's doing it. I think starting it off in the 60s is going to be ultimately what they're going for here, where we're going to, and then the whole quantum realm stuff. I think WandaVision is going to lead into, I think all of those things are going to lead into the Fantastic Four. This is just giving them, at this particular point, something to, you know, something to kind of start establishing them in the new timeline, establishing things that they've been through, you know, at least giving people something that they're going to start hyping it up again. And the more they start harping up means like they're getting ready to introduce them a lot quicker than we thought, maybe. So there's that. Here's another fascinating one. I use Discussing Film a lot because they post a lot of the info. 35 years ago today, Pixar was created. And then they asked the question, what is your favorite Pixar film? Is it Toy Story? Is it WALL-E? Is it The Incredibles? Or is it Soul? You know, I would probably go as far as to say that for me, my personal favorite is The Incredibles. I love this movie. I love the fact that they were able to take the story of Watchmen, because it's a story of Watchmen. Kind of like how Cars is like Doc Hollywood. They adapt other things. But they took this really like adult concept and they turned it into a family film where a lot of the same questions are asked. You know, a lot of the same questions are brought up, and it's very fascinating overall. And I would argue as far as Pixar sequels go, Incredibles 2 expanded on the mythos, and it introduced new characters and new situations, and it introduced a much more mature world than I think we got in 2004. And I think Brad Bird did a really good job with that. And I like it when Pixar gets a bit more mature, which is actually one of the reasons why Soul has also become one of my favorites. A lot of people out there were like, oh, it's too depressed. It's an adult film. Yeah, it is. Yeah. No. It's definitely more of an adult aimed film, and that's fine. You know, because you have Onward as more of a teenage film. And I liked Onward as well. WALL-E is fantastic. I still hate Ratatouille. I'm sorry. You're never going to get me to like that movie at all. It's so dumb. The concept is terrible. I never cared for it. But I love a Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my favorites in the Toy Stories fluctuate because I watch them so damn often. Monsters, Inc., Monsters University, love both of those. Finding Nemo, amazing. Finding Dory it's good, but it weighs on me a bit long. Like, I don't want to rewatch it as often. You know, it's a beautiful film. I think it's a great movie, but it's like one of those ones where I don't really like, I'm not drawn to it like I am like WALL-E or Incredibles, you know, or any of those kind of films. Brave has even grown on me in recent years, and that's probably because my daughters like it. So I've watched it a few more, and I've seen more things. So I saw it in the theater when it came out. Cars 3, amazing movie. Really ties into Cars 1. Cars 2 is still exceptionally stupid. And they killed off Bruce Campbell, which I'm not a big fan of. Anyway, there's a lot there to choose from. 35 years of Pixar. Of course, as always, I want to know, what do you guys, what do you think about this? How do you look at the Pixar movies, and where do you rank them? And if I'm absolutely wrong on Ratatouille, which people are going to tell me that, I'm going to go, Matt, you're wrong. Ratatouille's great. Ratatouille's amazing. It's not, but you know what? Hey, we all have different opinions. At least they're based on something that exists and not something that is made up, like retconning the sequel trilogy. All right. Let's get into the hardcore story of the day. The final story. This is going to be the big one. So Discussing Film put out a tweet earlier today. Zack Snyder responds to criticism that his fandom is toxic. In what world does this toxic fandom raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for suicide prevention? How is that a toxic fandom? They've probably achieved more than any other fan base. Now, this is something that Zack clearly thinks, because he's been active in promoting the AFSP drives that people have done on the Snyder Cut fandom. And a lot of people out there within the fandom are very, very, very dedicated to raising funds for that, which is amazing, which is great. I don't know. I mean, like, look, man, like he's biased. Let's be fair, right? So this is the article, right? Zack Snyder calls out the fakers who hated on his Justice League. Now, it is an interesting quote, and this is an older quote. I don't know from when this was. This is from when Sean O'Connell, and we're going to talk about him. This is from when Sean O'Connell penned the article, or, you know, interviewed Zack, which was definitely a while ago. And I don't know if Zack still feels the same. He probably does, but I don't know when he reported this. So I don't know what day, but more or less the whole point here is that he has the article, okay, and he just talks about like how you've got these, you know, these fakers, right? Like you know, people that he says here, those are people that I've been held back from confronting by wiser people in the room. Because I'd love to get at some of these characters, right? And you could tell this is more of an angry Zack. This is definitely before the Snyder Cut was announced, before they worked the deal. This is him, you know, looking at the way like the Hollywood bloggers, like they write about it, they talk about it, and they dismiss it. And you can tell that that's something that's definitely bothered him. You know, and he's talked about, you know, he says here, I can make a list. There's a few of these guys where I could just get a list of everything that they've ever said that they thought was right and tell them every single thing that they said is wrong. And you know what? You know what? That kind of call out, I think is necessary. I think is necessary, and I think it's important to do. Again, going back to what I was talking about Doomcock earlier, calling out that kind of nonsense is absolutely fundamentally okay. It's absolutely fundamentally all right to do. And I think in the context even of this article, it is 100% okay to do. Because again, we're talking about people who consistently get things wrong or act inappropriately, or in the case of this article, unethically. And then also he goes on to talk more here about the fandom, about the Snyder Cut fandom and how great they are. And this has caused a lot of division today that I've seen. A lot of people were attacking it, trying to say that, you know, this is just like the toxic side of the fandom exists. You can't ignore it. This is just people that are, you know, that are just inflating Zack's ego. And, you know, here's the thing. All of those things are true. They're true. But that doesn't take away from like the good that the fandom has done. There are bad eggs in every fandom, 100%. We've talked about Doomcock already multiple times this episode. And he's a bad egg of the Star Wars fandom and the Star Trek community and the Doctor Who community and anything involving women. Not a fan. He's just not a fan. However, I don't, you know, and Zack has been very thankful to those who are, you know, who are supportive of him, and that's good. And he's defended those fans, which is good. So many people don't defend their fans, and they just don't say anything when those fans get attacked. But I do think there needs to be a distinction. I just don't know how to do it. It's one of the reasons why I think going forward after this movie drops, I'm going to do what I can to start phasing out the term fandom. I just don't find it to be a useful terminology anymore. It's very much kind of lost all meaning in some aspects because it's either attacked or in some cases just people who turn a blind eye as long as it fits their narrative. And that again brings me back to Sean O'Connell and Cinemablend and unethical nature. So in the article here, all right, like again, we're talking his paragraphs, okay? Second paragraph in, he says, I have arriving his book, and that's a link to his Amazon. Okay, so it's a link to his Amazon. Again, second paragraph in, before we get to the two quotes by Zack. And then at the very end, he says, once again, hey, grab a copy of my book, arriving on March 1st. So it's in the second paragraph and the last thing that he writes about the article. Both of these should not be here. The managing director of Cinemablend, right, and by his own bio right here, the managing director of Cinemablend should not be writing an article like this. I called this out last week. I made a video on it last week. He didn't read my tweet, but he saw the video, which is why I'm doing it again. And today I called him out again. I did. I called him out again. So I said a number of hours ago, once again, Sean O'Connell quote mines his book to push 2 sales links for his hashtag #ReleaseThesnyderCut book. This coming after last week when he did the same thing. This is a conflict of interest at Cinemablend, and it's unethical. The pattern is clear. Now, Mack Rawden here, who is the editor-in-chief of Cinemablend, he came back to me, right? Here's a guy with 195 followers, but he's the editor-in-chief. Okay, fine. I'm not trying to attack like how big his fan base is. I'm just saying, you know, like it's okay. He says, hi, I'm the editor-in-chief of Cinemablend. I asked Sean if he could pull out a couple of quotes from his Snyder Cut book to run on Cinemablend. I thought they were interesting and readers would enjoy them. His books gets a link because it's the source. That was my decision, which is fine. If that's his decision. But where was that disclosure in the article, Mack? Where was the disclosure in the first article, Mack? Where's that disclosure? Where is the note from the editor-in-chief saying, I approved this, I okayed this? And he says that's why his book gets a link. But there's 2. And now there's been 4 that I can count from just quote mining this book. And I'm pretty sure there's more. I'm pretty sure there's more out there. That's all I'm saying right here. It's like, where's the disclosure of you being ethical? Enthusiast press ethics still exists, by the way, to come on out and say something here. Now, I said, look, that's fine. However, he should not be writing the article. Like, this isn't rocket science. Book excerpts are sent out all the time, but normally writers other than the author cover them. It's still a conflict of interest any way you slice it. So then he comes out with this absolutely dismissive point here, and it's so dismissive, and it's kind of disgusting, to be honest with you. And he says, we conduct hundreds of interviews a year, and it's always our preference to have the person who got the quotes write the article because they better understand the context. That's my perspective anyway. Totally understand people feeling differently, appreciate the feedback. So yeah, it's a brush off. It's a brush off. It's a well, you know, I mean, you know, look, again, this is not like he sat down at a press junket and he got the fucking interview. This is, he wrote a book. He got the interview for the book. He's quote mining his own book, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. And then he's running 2 ads in the book, in the articles. He's running multiple ads. That's what I'm talking about. That is the conflict of interest. That is the unethical nature of which you are acting right now, Cinemablend and Mack and Sean. And Sean said last week, he's like, I understand, I'm going to do better. And he did the exact same thing. And listen, the pattern is clear. So I finished it off by saying, look, if you want to blow this off, that's on you. The issue is the 2 ad placements for his book in the article, one before the quote from Zack Snyder himself. It's an advertisement for his book more so than anything else. And he did this last week too. Hashtag Snyder Cut. Now, here's my biggest complaint about this one is the fact that that I've been getting DMs from people, and I won't say who, but I've been getting DMs from people that are like, finally, someone's calling out Sean. Finally, someone's saying something, because they should say something. They should absolutely say something. This is a situation where there should be things that be said about this. And you know what? And I'm just going to say it here. And there are people in the Snyder Cut movement that are turning an absolute blind eye to this because it doesn't suit their narrative of going after the right kind of blogger. That there are people out there that scream hashtag us united, hashtag ReleaseThesnyderCut, all those things that have their channels and their Twitter presences and all that stuff. But here is like legitimately proven unethical conflict of interest behavior that if you at all support Ray Fisher's accountability over entertainment, then this should be something of which gets absolutely called out. Because here's the thing. I'm not against the book. I'm not against them marketing the book, but it's like what you do is you just have somebody else cover those quotes. You could have the exact same article with the exact same quotes on it and just go, this was written by our managing director, Sean O'Connell. Here's a link to purchase the book when it releases on May 5th. Like, that's it. Just like have it written by somebody else and then have one link. But instead he's got multiple, which he does say, I've written this book, but it's like he's still an employee of the company. It's still a conflict of interest. Like it's quite frankly, I'm not happy with the fandom over this one. I'm not happy with the Snyder Cut fans that are not going to say anything about this because they look at it as being, oh, well, it's one of us. It's on the right side. And I'm not attacking Sean for previous things he's written about Zack and not wanting him to do. I don't care about any of that. That's an old ass opinion. His book could even be about his journey of finding the Snyder Cut and then believing it. And I think that'd be an interesting story to tell. At no point am I talking about any of those things. My point is ethics in journalism. And when you are using your platform, of which you are a paid, probably salaried employee, to promote your for-profit book, using multiple links, quote mining your book to do it, that's a conflict of interest. And the fact that it's backed up by the editor-in-chief, who clearly doesn't understand F all about ethics is sickening to me, to be honest with you. And it's like, you know, and I get it. Like, I get it. They want it, you know, they want their readers, you know, because it gets shared around and they get clicks and they get views off of it. And that's what it's all about that. And I guarantee you that there's going to be most likely more articles leading up to the release of the book. So it's February 3rd right now. Next Monday or Tuesday, or I don't even know what day it is right now. There's probably going to be another article next Wednesday, right? Or maybe there's going to be one right before the same morning, 2/14 Valentine's Day, which is going to be when the trailer drops, apparently. And so there's going to be that. And he's going to continue doing this, and no one's going to say anything. I'll say something, but it's not, it can't just be me. If you care about this kind of stuff, if you actually cared about this at all, this is something you got to stand up for. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It's frustrating to see that, like, that there are people out there that I'm not going to call them out by name yet, because I want them to kind of come to it on their own. And I shouldn't have to. I'm not looking to put anyone on the spot, but it's just not a hard ask. It's not a hard ask to go, hey, maybe you shouldn't, you know, do unethical things. Perhaps. Maybe. I don't know. You know, I'm just frustrated with it all. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys want to help support the channel, you can always become a channel member. It's the best way to do it. Really good way to help out. Link in the video description on that one. Even though don't use iOS, because like YouTube takes their 30% and then Apple takes their 30% and we get left with very little. Anyway, it's all frustrating stuff, folks. But I'll be back tomorrow, more episodes. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you for watching, and peace out.